All right, good morning. Well, they don't know it's morning, right? Hi, guys.
They don't know.
They don't
It's
know.
they don't know. Man.
It is morning and it's drama as usual in the background, but we here.
Mm.
All
Eyes
right,
here.
sis, we here. Let's see. Let me see. Let me make sure because we always rambling.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it
We're
say
gonna
30
start.
minutes? Okay, let me start my timer. Hi,
Uh-oh.
guys. We are just, as you can see from the title, we just want to um give our reflection on the debate. When was the debate? It was today's Thursday, right?
Yeah, so it
Yeah,
was
so
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
nine
We just want
ten,
yeah,
September
we just
10th,
want to give our
2040.
these what is it, September 10th? We just want to
Yep.
give our thoughts, our reflections, not long, just some of our thoughts on. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the news coverage on it already. We just
Mm-hmm.
PoliChics wanted to weigh in on it. So
Yep.
Tiff, I'll let you go first, but I did want to say before we start that it was record breaking viewership. So I
Okay.
believe they said as of a couple of days ago, you really can't go by viewership anymore because people watch later, recording,
Uh-huh.
blah, blah. But at the point that I saw when they said how many people watched it, it was 65 million.
Wow. Wow. And
That's a
that's just watching it live. And then
lot.
you got to think about the fact that there's people watching it on YouTube, there's people watching it that's streaming it. There's people that's at parties. They
Yeah,
were watch
they will
parties
watch parties.
for the debate. So, and the good thing is I'm hearing a lot of younger people were watching it. Donnie actually sat for a little bit and watched it
Daniel
and was
watched it,
just
yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it was just like just looking and questioning the question that was on his heart and mind, and he keeps asking how and why is it so close. He's like, if it was the reverse and Kamala was doing all the craziness and saying all the things, he was like, there wouldn't be. And it's interesting to hear a 12-year-old's perspective. He was like, it would not be close. We didn't get into the fact that there's a race issue there as well. Like if it was the reverse with the race where it's a incoherent black man standing up there just rambling about cats and people eating them, that it
Dogs.
would
Didn't you say
be
dog? Wasn't it dogs?
cats and dogs, actually pets. So I guess parakeets, dogs, cats, you name iguanas. Some people, well, people do eat iguanas, but some people have those as pets too. I mean, he did question that, and I couldn't really give him a solid answer because this is not what we would want to represent us as a presidential candidate. So I don't like for him to think that all, because this is his first time watching and understanding. He's in civics now and understanding the process. I don't want him to think that this is the appropriate way to run for
Well,
the
no,
presidency of the United
if
States.
he's in civics now, they should be teaching it, presidential candidacies over the years. And remember,
Mm-hmm.
I kept trying to think of who it was. Was it John Kerry that got annihilated because he was screaming or something? Who was that? I don't remember who it was. It was not that long ago, within our age time. But
I don't
whoever that
remember.
candidate was, he was totally humiliated because he was like, scream like like animated or something like that, and he didn't get voted for. And even if you think of just how they would pick on George, which Bush, first Bush or second, that couldn't
I think
spell.
the second one with him,
Yeah,
with his idiocy when he
yeah,
spoke. Sometimes he
yeah,
did have a little bit of idiocy, like a bird brain when he
yeah,
spoke. When he
yeah.
spoke.
And
So
people were embarrassed by that. And now is that's but
that's
Tiff,
that's
the
that's acceptable now.
that's
But I
the
don't want
culture. That's the
people to think
culture.
that that's what we've become, where that's not the decorum that we should have, which is telling why so many people are coming out against that rhetoric and that behavior.
Yeah,
So
because I think what it is that because he's an entertainer and
mm,
because he's a celebrity and he had his
mhm.
shows and all of that, he's kind of like that. I think he fits more in the realm of there's a lot of things now people are just not embarrassed about anymore that you used to
Yeah,
be embarrassed about. So I think
yeah,
his electing him just represents what we have become as a world, where
yeah,
shame is no longer, where it's how low can you go, how naked can you get, how
hmm,
much can you reveal, how far can you
yeah,
push the envelope. And so that's what he represents. Anyway,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and like I said, so we went down a rabbit hole a little bit
Yeah, but
because
yeah,
that
okay, so let's move.
that was what Donnie was thinking when he was watching, because there's certain things he's like, what, and it's one of those things to where it's like, I don't know, I don't know. It's embarrassing, and it's not something that I want to teach him to aspire to or be like.
Hmm.
But as far as the debate, the things that I liked, I did like the fact that Kamala did come up to him, shake his hand, and show that, hey, I'm here to debate. The decorum is going to stay on this side.
Yeah.
Usually, candidates, when they debate, they shake hands, they introduce themselves. This is their first time meeting. I like that.
Yeah.
We don't have to play baby politics and act as if we're in kindergarten where we can't speak to each other or shake hands. Um, I mean, the faces alone kind of was flooring me. We were texting back and forth, you and I, and a few friends. It was just like the faces. And I know people say that she was trained, or they practice for her to do the faces and to react certain ways. But if you followed Kamala from her Senate days, or from when she was a prosecutor and she would appear on TV and on the California news and things like that, would know that those are her faces. Like, she constantly makes those faces.
She doesn't have a poker face.
No, she
She's gonna be
constantly,
like,
yeah. Like, what?
what?
And, like,
Yeah.
it just, so that, I mean, I think with the substance, I think she did win a few points with the abortion topic. Trump would not, he wouldn't commit or state that he would I guess, sign a nationwide abortion bill, or
But
would veto a nationwide abortion ban. So he was like, it would never come to the desk. It would never come.
yeah, it
But
just
if it
won't
did,
happen. It's not something I got to
right,
worry about because it just won't
right.
happen.
So he's like, I'm not going to worry about hypotheticals, but if it were to happen, what would you do? And
Right.
that's always a question, because think about it, they always ask hypothetically speaking questions.
You have to
So
because you're not president yet. You have to.
yeah, that's it. So what do you do? So I think she won a lot of points on that. She put, and guys, if you want to go back and look at our abortion or reproductive rights, I want to keep saying abortion, our reproductive rights video. We talked about there's so many different things that's encompassed in the reproductive rights thing, where Roe versus Wade was overturned. So she did bring up a few key points. Um, I do like the little key takeaway, the sound bites, as he called it. Like, they will shower you with flattery and favors because they know you're weak and wrong. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, she used a lot of his words against him, like a
Yeah.
disgrace, like
Yeah.
weak, like, you could see that she had him against the ropes, and he was visibly, ooh, I'm spitting, visibly shaking,
I just caught that in
shaking.
my eye. I just caught that in my eye.
He was visibly shaken and annoyed. And it's when she brought up his crowd size, I really think he, like, from the beginning,
Yeah.
he was just like, he was upset and annoyed.
It
And
was south from there. Yeah, it was
that's
south.
a yeah, yeah. So what do you think?
I love, first of all, how it started was that she immediately addressed that he's gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
thought it was a preemptive. She kind of took the wind from beneath him by saying he's gonna keep talking to you about immigration. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like she stole his thunder because now he's gonna talk to you about immigration, and she's gonna say, "See, I told you."
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and I thought it was interesting. I kind of like the backstory of things because I think we've watched it. But one of the other things was your favorite guy. They said, I don't know if it's true, that Buttigieg prepared her. So
Oh, I love
uh
Buttigieg.
she loves Buttigieg, guys. So I think that it makes sense because you've seen him on Fox News and he
Mm-hmm.
goes for the aggression. I
Yep.
think it was brilliant that she said, I invite you to go to his rallies.
Mm.
You don't have to listen to what I'm telling you. You don't have
Oh
to
my
listen
goodness.
to what I'm saying. Go to his rallies and you'll see him talking about windmills cause cancer, Star Wars, and whatever else it is he's talking about. And he went on to do that, talking about the dogs.
Yep.
So he's like exhibiting what I just warned you that he would do. But I love that she said go to his rallies.
Yes.
So that was a
And what
brilliant move.
what she did was she, like you said, she stole his thunder. She said what he's going to do up front. So then that
Mhm.
way I don't have to keep interrupting you saying, see, that's a lie. That's a lie. She's just like, hey,
Yeah.
you're going to hear about all of these things and watch it happen. And he was like, well, let me show you.
Yeah. He was like, let me prove her right. He was like, hold my beer.
It's
I
crazy.
think he looked like Biden, and what kept coming to me was karma.
Yeah.
Like we could see Biden was in decline. We could see that. But for
Yeah.
you to make fun of it, to mock him, and he's done it with other people, not just with Biden. I remember one
Hmm.
time he mocked somebody that I think was either paraplegic, something, mocking men that are in the army, saying they're suckers, losers, people that lose are suckers. So he's on the stage and his whole body language just read loser. And
Yep.
so she looked like a teacher. She might as well
Yeah.
have had a ruler, those old-fashioned pointing rulers, going like this,
Yeah.
because every time she was just like, she said, you with your felonies, and you have $400 million
Hmm.
your father gave you, and you filed bankruptcy, and you are liable for rape, and they will
Yeah.
eat you for lunch. She was like,
Oh my
they're gonna
gosh.
eat you, they would eat you for lunch. And I just
It,
called, yes, she just like beat him down. It was like she was just, after a while, I was kind of embarrassed and like, oh my God, like make it stop.
No,
This is
because
like
no,
beating the
because
hell out of him.
sometimes when people are bullied or bullies, a bully needs a bully.
No, yeah,
That's how they back down. So if you notice, he wasn't name calling her. He wasn't backing. He didn't have the fight in him. And as you said, he did appear to be the older candidate. So now they're spinning it to now older equals wisdom now. But before older
oh,
was,
okay.
you know,
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh,
older
okay,
is,
got it.
yeah, it completely changed. But he looks
Yeah.
older, he looks more tired, he looks more defeated. Um, some of the things that I think she could have talked about more was the economic plan and the inflation and how she was going to deal with that. That those things I feel like she could have expounded a little more on. Um, the Afghanistan thing, I think she did
Oh,
discuss and talk about the
yeah.
way, basically she put the onus on him because if you follow politics the way we do, Afghanistan, it was supposed to
It was
happen, the
his idea.
withdrawal, right?
Yes.
The withdrawal was supposed to happen under Trump. So she's like, we took what we had and did it the way we thought we could.
I
And
understood that too, but I still felt like she should have taken responsibility for how
yep,
bad it went, regardless. Like to
yep,
say, obviously things could have gone much better.
hmm, yeah,
Obviously this and that. And there's a way to say, I'm just the VP without attacking Biden. She can
yep,
say, okay, this is what I would do. Because there's a time when he said, they were asking him something about JD Vance in an interview. And he was like, well, that doesn't matter, like what he said with this and that, because, the vice president basically is just a showpiece. That's what he said. So if
mm,
a vice president is just a showpiece for you, then why is it
hmm.
that you making like I have all the power as vice president that I am?
Oh, that's a
So
good
yeah,
point.
so I
Good
would be
point.
like,
Really
well,
good point.
didn't you say that I'm just the vice president? Guys, when
And
I become president, I
insignificant.
have the actual pen. Like I
Yes.
don't have the full pen now. I support Biden, but how many of y'all can go against your boss or the owner of your company? How many of
Yeah.
you can actually go to your, like I couldn't go against my principal. I had to
Yep.
smile even though I thought this was not a good idea.
Yep.
But
Yep.
so she could come across like
And
that
Cindy, you
without
also have to implement what the principal is saying. Even though you may have been fighting in the meeting and saying this is not a good idea, at the end of the day, when you come out of that meeting and
you
that's the
gotta
decision,
smile.
you have to smile and act whatever it is that they're
Yeah.
saying. And we're
So
not saying to take the blame off of her or the administration, but at the same time, the decision wasn't completely hers.
right, you can't
So,
have it both ways. It can't be that a VP is just a figurehead, but I'm so powerful as VP that I could stop fracking. I could
mhm.
make a ban, make you have an abortion and after you have the baby and murder it, or I could have done something with the wall. And the other
So,
thing I think she should have done, she did well with the answering about the wall, that he killed the
mhm,
bill, but they
mhm,
never mentioned the fact that he pardoned the people that stole the money for building the wall and that he said Mexico was going to pay for that wall. So those are
mhm.
2 points I think she should have added. Like, not only did you kill the bill that would have fixed the problem, but you also pardoned the guy that stole the money that would have built the wall. What did you do when you were president with the wall? Nothing. That's why we got
Yeah,
stuck with the wall. We
right.
got stuck with this issue because you didn't do anything. You ran on that campaign and still didn't do anything.
Yep. And then also, I mean, you've been, like you said, you've been in office for 4 years. The When you talk about the healthcare, when she said, "Well, what's your plan?" He said, "We have a concept."
A
So, I
concept,
mean,
an idea.
a concept. So after 4 years, before you ran, you said you were going to get rid of it and do X, Y, Z, and you had the most wonderful cost saving plan. And so for 4 years, that plan has not been enacted. There was never an introduction of a plan. And then
Yeah.
now you've been out of office for almost 4 years, and you still don't have a
And
cohesive
you're running
measured plan.
again. You're
Yes.
running
So
again.
I'm just going to say it's probably not a plan. There's probably
No. No,
probably no plan.
remember when McEnany, Kayleigh McEnany, one of his public, whatever, his speaker or whatever,
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
she had that binder, he did an interview and they were asking him about his plan,
Yes.
and she had that
Yeah.
binder and they took the binder because she said this is the plan for the healthcare and it was empty.
Yeah, yeah. It
That's the
it just
plan.
it's amazing. And like I said, I know people say you vote with on policy, you don't vote on emotion. And I'm just curious as to the policies when he says, he says this is what I'm going to do, but he doesn't enact a lot of the things like the build a wall, like you said, with the immigration. You said you were going to the first
Yeah.
time, but you didn't. And what happened? I just the healthcare. You said you were going to, but you didn't. So what happened?
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the Biden Harris administration, they did what she talked about with the prescription drugs cap at
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 a year, the insulin being no more than I think $25 or $30
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah.
It you have cohesive numbers and proof that this is what we're doing and what we're working on. So
Yeah.
I think, as you can probably tell, we think Kamala actually won the debate. And I
Yeah.
think the fact that someone is resorting to talking about cats being eaten and no proof, and the key, if he said, "Oh, well, there was proof and this someone covered it up," or anything like that, he said, "I saw it on TV that someone was talking about it.
In an
This is a
interview,
presidential
somebody
candidate."
just
Right. This
well,
is a
he
presidential
ran his
candidate.
presidency by tweet. He ran his presidency when they would ask him, like, what did you say about this that happened, the shooting? He said, well, I sent out a tweet. So
Right.
half
But
the nation doesn't even follow you on tweet. How would we know if you say emergency situation and send it out by tweet? I don't follow you. I wouldn't get that tweet.
right, but at least some of it was based in fact or his opinion. But you're saying you saw something on TV,
Mm-hmm.
someone talking about something on TV, the cats and the Haitians, and you saw it and they were talking about it. So obviously it's true. In the age that we have, the digital age that we have, you're saying someone actually watched their pet get stolen and fried up and cooked. They didn't have it on video, but they can report that that's what happened. That makes
Well,
no sense to me.
it
Like,
just
who's
proved what
doing
she had. It proved one of her main points, which is that you're worshiping Orban, Kim
that?
Jong
Mm-hmm.
Un.
Mm-hmm.
Orban is the dictator of Hungary. Kim Jong
Mm-hmm.
Un, what is he, China or what is he,
No,
China?
North
Uh,
Korea.
North Korea, and you worship and Putin, these dictators, and all they got
Mm-hmm.
to do is flatter you and tell you anything, and you believe it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so the point is that you can just manipulate him if it looks like it fits his agenda, like the cat
Yeah.
story or the dog story or whatever that story is. It fits his
So
agenda of
frustrating.
immigrants are doing something. Um,
Yeah.
so you
They're
don't
doing
even
stuff
need
that's
to know
less
if it's
than
true.
human. They're
Yes,
doing stuff that's less
they're
than human. So
animals.
then that way
They're
you can
animals.
demoralize them
You
and
can
dehumanize
demoralize
them.
them. And you can
Yes.
say, see,
Yes.
I told you the people came in
Yep.
on the border and now they're
Yep.
eating your animals.
Yep.
So that's really why he doesn't verify, he doesn't care who you are. If you clap for him, that's it. And so on a world stage, all a
Mm.
dictator has to do is flatter you and you're going to support them, just like he wouldn't commit to saying Ukraine, it deserves to win. He wouldn't
Yeah.
commit to that.
Oh
He
yeah, I
can't
forgot about
commit to
that.
that.
He
Yeah,
didn't
he
say that.
couldn't commit to that. Ukraine.
Yeah.
And so she was smart. She said, so you're saying that Putin should win. What you're saying by the war will be over in 5 minutes is that you would give up. And so you
Oh.
would stop helping Ukraine, which means Russia would win And on top of that, what are you going to say to the 800,000 Polish people that live in Pennsylvania?
Hmm.
So I thought that was
Now,
very smart.
one thing I can say with his response about the United Nations and how he was able to get them. See, I told you I'd find something positive to say. How he was able to get them to pay more money, because yes, they do benefit from Russia being stopped. They're right there on the same continent, so they benefit more in a sense than we do, because he's not invading Poland and all of those countries like closer and closer and closer. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like, they should be paying a little more money. We're paying so much money. So I agree with that part, that we're
Mm-hmm.
helping all these nations, and what are they giving us in return? So
Right.
I did agree with him on that point. But
I actually did. I thought if we can move to like I guess the ending of the debate, the closing
hmm
statement, I
hmm
felt like I held my breath because when you go last, you get the best hit.
yeah.
So I feel like he really blew it because he had a great point, but he didn't focus on that point throughout the whole time of the debate. He waited until
hmm
the end to make his closing statement. Why didn't you do all of that you had to do if this is, so that is a good punch. But
Yes.
he didn't
Yes.
focus on that throughout. It was my crowd size and all these conspiracy theories and pointing fingers, blaming Nancy Pelosi. We didn't even talk about January 6th, him blaming Pelosi for
Yeah.
January 6th, not taking any responsibility, no eye contact. But I
Oh
thought,
no.
yeah, no eye contact at all.
None.
I
None.
thought that he really had a good point in saying, well, if you're promising all these things, why didn't you do it when you were president? I mean, when you were vice president, which of course she could say, I'm only vice president, I'm not president. But I
Yeah,
felt
I'm
like that
not
was a good point.
president.
He should have focused on that.
He should have closed then, and he would have gotten some
Yeah,
points, some, on the scorecard, or what do they call it, the score sheet. He would have
yeah,
gotten
yeah,
some good points. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, hey, overall, it was a good debate. I'm looking forward to a second one, if they have a second one.
Yeah, I don't
He's
want her to
saying
do it
why
again if she don't
he,
have
he
to.
look. He said, why should I do another? I feel like I'm ashy. I'm sorry, guys, but why?
That's funny.
He said, why should I do another debate if
If I won,
if I won? Well, if you won, you can go in and, champs always, when they ask for another debate, they look at how many times Mike Tyson has fought people. Look at how
yeah,
many
yeah,
times,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you go back in the ring and you get some more of that butt
I feel
whooping.
like if I were her, I would sit quiet because why gild the lily? Like they say, like why try to make something more perfect if it already came out perfect? As a
I
cake
probably would do
decorator, I feel that way when I'm doing something and the cake comes out really good. Then I'll start messing with it and messing with it. And
it.
next,
Nope.
I would debate him again if he asked,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't push for it because he lost.
It
He
was,
lost. He clearly
yeah,
lost.
but it was
But I
already,
would say for her, I would do more interviews. That's what I would do.
yeah. Yeah, and it was already something in the works for them to debate again, from what I understand.
Yeah, it
So
was supposed to be in
I'm
October,
not
I
backing
think.
down.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't
I
back
would,
down. I wouldn't back down. But
yeah, like,
I don't know she should do it on Fox because they're not gonna fact check him. They're gonna ask him they're gonna do him. They're saying that she won because they didn't ask her the hard questions. They asked him the hard questions and asked her to respond. That's why they're saying, oh, and they're also saying she had an earpiece. Then she had these
okay.
pearl earrings on or something, and they're saying those earrings were an earpiece. So they're trying to
Everything is a
find any reason
conspiracy.
why he
Yeah.
lost.
And like I said, I would go on Fox News. I would go, look at Pete. Like
Yeah.
I said, that's why I like him, because he's going to take it to you wherever you are.
Oh yeah,
So
he gonna
look,
come at
don't,
you.
you want to be the leader of this country? Show that you have balls. That's it.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
My only thing
Johnny hates
about
when I
going
say
on
that.
there is that if I go on there, it has to be my chance to fact check you. So you
Yeah, but
can't be
you know
like
what, Cindy?
interrupting me. You can't be interrupting me.
There's a sector of the population that you're trying to govern that watches that news station,
Yeah, no,
and
no, she
you
has
should
to
be
go
able
on there.
to go and you can fact check or say
No,
whatever
no,
it
no.
is that
I
you need to
want to
say
be
to.
able to.
Yeah,
That's my
like,
complaint about this debate. My complaint about this debate was that they didn't let her fact check him enough. Like they kept telling her, no, we got to move on. No, we got to move on. No, we got to
yeah.
move on. But they let him jump in and ramble on and on and on. So my only stipulation would be, you got to let me fact check that A. You got to let me like get at
Well,
him. You can't be trying to cut
they're
me
they're
off while he
saying
talks.
on the other side, they're saying that he was being treated unfairly because they were fact checking him. So it depends on which side you're looking at. Everybody is looking at it through their own
You
lens.
should
And
fact check both sides. Fact check.
yeah,
I want you to fact. If you see something wrong with what I said, fact check me. But I
yes,
don't. I think on Fox News it's gonna happen. What happened in that journalist meeting when Harris, what's her name? I forgot her name. The one of them Faulkner, whatever
Faulkner.
her name is
Yep.
on. Yeah, she tried to make a question like he was saying something and he was incorrect and she just went over and glossed over it. So
Yeah.
I don't need you to help me because I can fact check them myself, but I need you
Yep.
not to cut my mic off when I'm doing it. That's what
Yeah.
I want. That's my only complaint. Like anyway, I feel like you
Yeah.
said, like she won. I feel like I was left wanting in some areas, especially the first question that they asked about economics, and she kind
Yeah.
of didn't answer it. And
Yeah.
she just talked about what she would do, but she didn't say, "Are we in a better place than we were 4 years ago?" You're gonna have to address that question
Yep.
because people are
And
still wondering that.
well, I mean, if you think about it, 4 years ago, September of 2020, we were in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
So,
So then you should
I mean,
answer
there were
it.
there were people dying in the streets, and well, maybe not in the streets, the morgues and everything on the sidewalks or in the streets and the trucks, and that
It
wasn't a
was
good
George
look.
Floyd. We
It,
were coming
it
over George Floyd
yes. So
protest.
the emotional part of it, no, we weren't. And then there were a lot of people out of jobs because of the pandemic. So I mean, that there's a lot of key things that surrounding the fact
Yeah,
that we were in
that's
a
why I don't.
pandemic.
But that's why I don't
So
understand why she didn't like. She did mention sometimes like she's like we had to clean up his mess basically. So
hmm
I would say,
hmm
listen, he fired the pandemic team, the team that was supposed to watch for pandemics that Obama had in place. He came in and tried to just get rid of anything that looked black and looked like Obama. So he fired that person, that team, and so we had this pandemic. He listened to China to say nothing's wrong. And so that's why and so when I got in, I had to spend 2, 3 years cleaning up his mess. So if they go down that road, then I think that she would be okay with saying, yes, we're better now. Anyway,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But hey, good discussion on it. And I
Yeah.
mean, let us know your thoughts, guys, in the comments, or send us the messages you always send, or email us.
Yeah.
All of our information is there. We're 2PoliChics on Facebook, Facebook,
Face,
Facebook. Oh my
face
God.
pocketbook.
Oh my, and PoliChics on YouTube. We're also on Instagram under 2PoliChics. You'll see
Yeah.
our logo or our face. So follow us, like, subscribe, and see you guys
See
on the
you
next
guys.
episode.
Bye, guys.